Hello, today we are talking about the striking pose and how it is one of the most valuable pieces of equipment a traditional martial artist can have in his gym bag. And the reason why I think it's really quite important is that it teaches you fundamental skills that allows you to punch with a great deal of power. And the reason why you can actually generate a great deal of power is because you're using this equipment to learn how the body coordinates, how to use much larger muscle groups in coordination, how to use those coordinated muscle groups all at the same time when you're striking the tool. What it allows you to do is changes the upper limit for how much power you can derive with just your arm. For instance, the arm doesn't have a lot of muscles. If you were to weigh it, tops out at 1 kilo, 1.5 kilograms. However, the amount of muscle that you have in your body plus your leg increases the kind of strength that you can generate, because once you get a big group of muscles working together, pulsing that force from the floor upwards through to your body, through to the weapon, what we're doing is we're allowing that transmission of mass through the body much more effectively than just say raising up your arm and powering the forward movement of your arm with much smaller shoulder muscles plus tricep muscles trying to hit and rotate at the same time. So let's talk a little bit about this piece of equipment. You can buy this, it's actually really quite cheap. It's $30. It's mounted very lightly on the wall. Again, I'm not going to be hitting the tool very hard. While you can hit it quite comfortably with a significant amount of force, I don't want to do that because the risk of injury is quite high, and I've hurt myself before. So what we want to do is we want to use the tool only to give you feedback through when you're punching it. I need that feedback back into the body. The whole point of it is that you want to negate the feeling of power through the arm, meaning if I'm punching a heavy bag and I feel warm, I feel that power sink in, and I feel this great amount of energy going through, what I'm using is I'm using a great amount of force using arm muscles. I'm only 72 kilos, 1.7 high. There's an upper limit to how much power I can generate. I'm not saying that it's a bad punch. That's a great punch. If you're basically hitting every day, you can obviously knock a person out. You can create a lot of power. What I'm trying to do is use this tool, use a smaller person, and create a huge amount of force without that muscle mass, which I don't have, right? So this tool is great for people who are coordinated, slicer build, shorter range. It allows you to punch very quickly, allows you to punch at a short range and generate a lot of power. So there's several ways of hitting the target. I'm going to show you just one today, but the concepts basically allows you to learn how it feels like when you're sinking a strike properly, and you can actually apply it to any basic punch. Meaning, for instance, if you're working on this and you're questioning how effective that is, what you've got to do is learn how to use this punch first, generate that power, and then with this short jab, those basic punches make a lot more sense. It really is a paradigm shift. I can't stress how much it will affect your martial art once you get this right. Okay, so first off, I'm going to stand in a back stance or a defensive stance. You can stand however you want. What I'm doing is I'm putting 70% of my weight on the back foot, 30% on the front foot. Holding my hands in a standard shuto or sudo configuration. And what I want to do is I want to pull that elbow back so that points straight to the target. And the reason why that is so important is because if I were to have my elbow sticking out and pointing off to the side, then if I punch, there's going to be a disconnect between my elbow and the target. So what I want to do is I want to get that elbow back in, I want to face this forearm as a launch pad to the center of the target. As you can see, I've installed this at chest height. So as you sit down in this stance, you should be punching somewhere around here, which is fine. Meaning that's the solar plexus, those are the bottom of the ribs and the floating ribs, which is exactly where you want to actually punch. So the major thing that a beginner can do when faced off with this target first is, instead of having your hands open, let's go ahead and have this fist closed on your chest and with your elbow tightened out back, right? So you have your target here. You are perhaps maybe about 30 centimeters away from the target, hip to target. That's 30 centimeters. What I want to do, I want to, first of all, pulse that hip forward and keep the elbow pinioned to my side. So as I punch, I want to have this rotational force go out, but have the arm stuck to the side of the body. Meaning that the pecs and the lats are pulling the arm onto the trunk of the body, and as you're releasing it, there's much more efficiency of transmission of the power through that arm, rather than if you were to lift that arm, disconnect and let it go, then your arm muscles basically require to have much more strength to be able to transmit that force through that limb. So getting that limb down allows you to have this transmission much more effectively, because all you're doing is you're powering it through with your body, but the arm is concentrating on keeping the end bit still, so that transmission is much more effective. Right? Can you see that? It's kind of like the analogies that I use often in class is Aboriginal spear throwers would have a spear and a handle that fits at the back of the spear, and with that it allows you to launch that spear further and faster than if you were to throw it with your hand. This is a similar concept in that you've got your hand plastered to your side, and as you're punching, you're extending the force of your body through an arm that is held solid. Okay, so what I've done is I've adopted a stance facing the target. The hand is tightened to the side. And how do I want to generate power? What I want to do is I want to hit it with the body pulsing, but how do I turn that body? What I want to do is I want to push my right side forward. So this is my right hand. I want to push my right side forward, but I want to sink my left leg into the ground. So I'm really throwing my weight forward and making sure that weight drops to the ground. And the reason why we turn the hand over is, go ahead and try this. Put your hand on the table, lean on it. It's much easier leaning with the palm down than with the palm up. So it's fairly easy leaning like this as well. So long as the hand is turned down, it's much more effective in supporting your weight. So as I rotate that body, drop that weight through into the front foot, I want to turn that hand so that it allows me to use gravity to power that punch through. Right? So again, hand on the chest, form the fist. That hand is up again to protect your fist. Cover, no worries. Chin down. All the proper self-defense concepts work with this. Elbow back onto the body, and you're throwing the right side of your hip forward, dropping the left foot harder into the ground. So there's an instantaneous increase in the force on your left foot. Then what we're going to do is we're going to breathe out and we're going to tighten the core. Now, I don't want to feel as though there's a lot of power or tension in the hand. The minute I feel that there's more arm tension or shoulder tension, what I want to do is relax that hand, relax that shoulder, and tighten it down to my sides, making sure that the arm is tight and I'm able to power it only with the hips and the leg. Then with the breath out, you're going to tighten the abs and allow that force to send and transmit up through the shoulder and down the arm. One more time. Right? Now, the arm alignment. Most hard stylists would know this. You're going to align those two bones. So it's achieved by pointing at the target, pulling your hands tight so that your front knuckle points. I'm not sure that you can see it, but yeah, you can see the impact zone here. The only thing here that this does poorly is that it deforms with the fist, so it does kind of scuff the bottom knuckles as well. But it's very important that you align those arm muscles, you align those bones, lock it in place, and that locking is really important. If you relax and hit and you slightly shear it, you're going to break your wrist and you're going to hurt yourself. Also, you're going to hurt your knuckles really badly. Again, don't hit the target hard. I want you to be able to hit the target and feel that feedback through the body. Alright? So, arm in. Make sure that you're forming your fist right. Point that fist forward and increase the tension in your gut muscles right at the end. Now, as you're doing that punch, what you want to do is feel that connection throughout the abdominal muscles and down into the legs, meaning that all the muscles are in equilibrium. If you're using it right, you should actually feel the whole entire group of muscles powering the punch at the same time. Once you feel that balance, all you need to do to punch harder is to spin the hips faster, power the leg muscles through faster, so you pulse it through by the coordination of the breath and the movement. So as you start the breath, and as you hit the target, you use that timing to help you coordinate the movement faster. Now, you can't hit this target very hard just because it feels like you can and you can approach to your maximum. Really try to avoid hitting that target hard. And the reason why is it doesn't absorb the force very well. See that? There's nothing behind it. I know one of my friends basically mounts this on a tire. That is better. And the reason why the Okinawan masters have the Makiwara on a flexible post is so that you're able to punch a flat surface very safely. So for this particular piece of equipment, make sure that you don't punch it 100%. Now, for those people who want to try sinking power into a human, what I would suggest you doing is use one of these fairly thin strike mitts and pull it tight on your body. So same level here, I'm hitting the solar plexus, I'm hitting all on this level, all right? So as I come in here, I can be struck here, my hand can be moved away, I can be struck all along this point right to the back. For instance, I move my hand away, I'm here, the punch hits all of these nice areas, and this level is level with this. Similar with this, I'm going to not stick it to the middle of my body, I'm going to pull it off to my side, and I'm going to hold it tight to my body this way, so long as it's flat and solid, and I'm breathing out at the same time. I don't want this to rock too much, so I need it to be quite stable, and that's how you actually hit it on the human body fairly well. Now, the reason why you don't actually practice on the human body, it's too spongy. So as I'm taking that strike, I'm breathing out and I'm absorbing it at the same time. So I don't actually hurt myself as the person holding on to the target. So as I'm being struck, I'm letting the breath out. Also, I'm going to switch, not going to hold it for too many times. You can practice on here. In combination, you use this, all right? Just make sure that when a person holds it, they're holding it pretty tight. They're making a frame with their body so that this doesn't happen. Once this happens, and if you rock that hand slightly, and if you punch and that hand flexes and it breaks, hey, I told you so, I'm insured. So make sure that you use it in combination, test it out, but not too hard, especially on this target. This one you can go a bit harder, just make sure that the target is stable. With the striking post, you'll find that it's the muscle coordination and lockdown at the point of impact that is very, very important. Meaning, I don't have to stand off to the side and rotate my body in. And the reason why is that the idea is as I coordinate that punch and hit it, I am tensing up the muscle upon impact, breathing out at the same time and powering it through with leg muscles and core muscles. So for instance, if I'm standing here, I can hit this target equally as well, just like that. Now it's not, when I say equally as well, it's equally as well for that punch. Meaning it's fairly relaxed. I'm sending it through just like your basic punch, but at the point of impact, I'm tightening up the pecs, the lats, I'm using the core muscles and I'm sending that structure all the way through the arm. So as I'm hitting it, I'm not doing this all the way. I'm not powering it through all the way with my arm. I'm accelerating that arm, and at the point of impact, then I tense. Alright? Again, I'm not disconnecting the arm from the body. So that's the flight path of the arm. So the basic punch, like that, is maintained, except that at the point of impact, then I basically tense up. I don't, as I send out the basic punch, I don't disconnect the arm. Alright? I don't disconnect the arm because I'm powering it through with hip rotation. The hip rotation is actually really quite important, and it distinguishes this punch from this punch. You drive this punch with shoulder rotation. This punch with hip rotation. This punch too. As you make impact, you tense up the same muscle groups to achieve the same results as when you're in the defensive stance and pulsing that through. All right? So really it is a pulse. Everything happens all at the same time, coordinated by the breath. I'm sure I have some posts on my blogs that relate to striking the Makiwara or the striking pose. If you have any questions, please feel free to send it to me. I'm really happy to share my passion, whatever knowledge I've gained, my insight, and if you have learned something that is beyond what I've actually told you, I'm really happy for you to discuss it and share with us your experiences as well. From all of us at Traditional Taekwondo, actually it's just me today, happy training, keep safe, and hope to see you online soon. Thank you very much.